The engine's burning through 900 pounds of fuel every hour. The crew is 20 minutes out, heading straight into a storm. The seas, the rizios, buzzing. And in the wheelhouse, Captain Sig Hansen is silent. He's been here before, but this time something's different. Beneath the familiar roar of the engines and crashing waves, there's tension. Not just from the storm outside, but from the storm inside him. Because behind every decision Sig makes, there's a secret, a scar, a moment he wishes he could take back. This isn't just another run for crab. This is personal. And for the crew of the FV Northwestern, it could be the most dangerous trip they've ever taken. Today we pull back the curtain on the man behind the wheel and reveal the moments he's never been able to forget. From life-threatening mistakes to near-fatal health scares, this is the untold truth about Captain Sig Hansen and how his darkest choices nearly changed Deadliest Catch forever. Buckle up. The storm's just beginning. When Deadliest Catch first hit the screen in 2005, nobody could have predicted it would become one of the most visceral, gut-wrenching documentaries ever filmed on the open sea. It wasn't just another Discovery Channel experiment. It was a front-row seat to the most dangerous job in North America, and maybe the world. Crab fishing in the Bering Sea is a brutal, unforgiving profession. It demands everything from a person: strength, focus, resilience, and offers almost nothing in return. Except risk. There are no safety nets out here. Only steel decks, freezing rain, and waves tall enough to swallow a house. Every step on board a crab boat is a gamble. One loose line, one miscalculated swing of a 900-pound pot, 1 second too slow in a storm, and you're overboard, or worse. That danger is what gives the show its name, Deadliest Catch. But it's not just the sea that kills. It's exhaustion, it's ego, it's decisions made under pressure. And it's the brutal reality that most people who do this job are either running from something or trying to prove they can survive what others can't. From the very first season, Deadliest Catch broke all the rules of reality TV. There was no flashy host, no stage lighting, no second takes. Just real people risking everything for crab quotas that could make or bankrupt their year. Each episode captured that razor-thin edge between life and death. The show didn't ask the audience to care about the drama. It forced them to respect the grit. And it did that by showing every blister, every busted knuckle, and every funeral. Over time, the fishing fleet shrank from over 250 boats to fewer than 90, due to tighter regulations and a shift from derby-style chaos to a quota-based system. But the danger? That stayed the same, maybe even worse. Because while the boats got smarter, the storms didn't. And that's the world Sig Hansen stepped into, not just as a captain, but as a man willing to carry the weight of every soul on board through every hour of ice, fire, and thunder. Into this world of chaos and cold steel walked Sig Hansen, no stranger to danger and no novice to the sea. By the time the cameras of Deadliest Catch started rolling, Sig had already lived a life that most wouldn't survive in fiction. He was born into the industry. A third-generation fisherman from a Norwegian-American family, Sig grew up on the decks of commercial vessels. While other kids learned to ride bikes, Sig learned how to gut fish, read weather patterns, and steer into storms without flinching. He captained the FV Northwestern, a vessel that didn't just appear on the show, but became one of its core characters. From the very first season, Sig brought something different. He wasn't trying to be famous. He didn't chase the spotlight. He chased crab and perfection. Gruff, intense, and razor-focused, Sig was the kind of leader who could read the ocean like a chessboard and play 3 moves ahead of the weather. But behind the scenes, Sig was doing more than navigating storms. He was also guiding the very production team filming him. Many of the early camera crews had never set foot on a fishing vessel, let alone during a storm with 40-foot waves. They didn't know the danger until Sig showed them. He became an unofficial technical advisor, not because he asked to, but because someone had to keep them alive. In one now infamous incident, Sig shouted at a cameraman to jump out of the way, moments before a massive crab pot swung through the air. If the man had stayed put, he would have been crushed. Sig saved him. And just like that, the production learned that crab fishing wasn't just dramatic, it was lethal. His boat, the Northwestern, quickly rose to prominence not just for its catches but for its discipline. Under Sig's command, the Northwestern ran like a machine, harsh, efficient, and unforgiving. Mistakes weren't corrected, they were eliminated. Every greenhorn who stepped on his deck either rose to the challenge or was swallowed by it. Sig's reputation grew. To fans, he was a symbol of strength. To fellow captains, he was competition. And to his crew, he was a leader who demanded everything, because he had already given that much himself. But beneath the cold precision and tough exterior was a man carrying more weight than anyone realized. Decisions that would haunt him, accidents that would scar him, and eventually, moments that would almost take his life. Now here's where things take a turn. Over the years, Sig faced countless storms, both literal and personal. But the worst ones? They came from within. In a brutally honest interview, Sig opened up about the choices that nearly destroyed him. He confessed that many of his decisions were ego-driven, made in moments where pride outweighed caution. The icing down? That was ego, he said. When you're chasing money and not using your head, that's when things get dangerous. One of the most chilling stories involved a decision he made in his late 20s. After a violent storm, Sig spotted a rogue wave approaching but failed to hit the deck alarm in time. A crew member was thrown violently across the deck, injuring his back. The man survived and recovered, but Sig never forgot. "That one's still with me," he said. "You're not talking minutes, you're talking seconds." That wave changed everything. From that moment, he vowed to never play music in the wheelhouse again. No distractions, not when lives are on the line. But even with decades of experience, the ocean doesn't forgive, and neither does time. One of Sig's most terrifying moments came not from the sea, but from fire. While fishing with his daughter Mandy on board, the Northwestern caught fire. It wasn't just dangerous, it was nearly fatal. Had the fire started an hour earlier while the crew was asleep, it could have been catastrophic. "My daughter was there," Sig said. "I can't stop thinking, if it had started earlier, we wouldn't be here." But even fire wasn't the closest he came to death. During a trip home, Sig slipped on the ice and injured his face. He ignored it. Later, he woke up to swelling and pain so severe, he joked, "Did you poison me?" His wife rushed him to the hospital, where doctors told him that if he had waited a few more hours, he would have died from a deep facial infection. He was lucky, again, but the wake-up call was louder this time. Sig's most serious health scare came in the form of a massive heart attack at sea. Alone in the wheelhouse, he felt the pain coming on, but didn't want to stop fishing. Why? Because fishermen don't quit, it's the code. Eventually, the pain became unbearable. He was airlifted off the boat, rushed to emergency care, and survived. Barely. "Maybe I should have hung up the spurs a long time ago," he later said. The heart attack didn't just scar him physically, it changed him emotionally. He began to reconsider everything, his family, his legacy, and the price of this life he'd chosen. He started talking about retirement, about spending time with his wife, his daughter, and now his grandchildren. If you've been a terrible father, you try to be a better grandfather. That shift didn't go unnoticed. Fans began to wonder, was this the end of Sig on Deadliest Catch? The sea isn't merciful. One of the most emotional moments in the series was the death of Captain Phil Harris, a close friend of Sig's. In 2010, while offloading crab, Harris collapsed from a stroke. He insisted the cameras keep rolling. "We've got to show this. People need to see the end," he told producers. Harris was airlifted to Anchorage, where he died days later. His death shook the fleet and changed Sig. At the same time, Sig was navigating lawsuits, crew member deaths, and rising tensions with Discovery. At one point, he and the Hillstrand brothers announced they were quitting the show altogether due to legal disputes. But the storm passed, and the captains returned. Still, the weight of those years left scars. In season 21, Sig made a surprising move, teaming up with Jonathan Hillstrand, a longtime rival and fellow veteran of the sea. Their mission? To find a rumored giant king crab near a remote, abandoned island. It wasn't just about crab. It was about proving to himself and the world that he still had what it takes, that the sea hadn't broken him yet. "You're more fearful when you put pots on the boat," he admitted. "But I keep thinking, my wife has spent decades waiting for me. Maybe it's time." Whether this journey is his last or just another chapter, one thing is certain, Sig Hansen has defined Deadliest Catch, both for better and for worse. There's no denying Sig has made mistakes, some small, some nearly fatal. But through storms, fire, illness, and regret, one thing has remained true. He never abandoned ship. And maybe that's why fans still tune in, not just for the danger, but for the heart, the family, the fight. So the real question is this: has Sig Hansen done enough to redeem himself? Or has the cost of his choices been too high? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you made it this far, you're a true fan. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss a journey like this one again. The sea might calm, but Sig Hansen's story, that storm's still brewing. Check out the next video on your screen to keep the voyage going.